Hello everyone, and welcome to Ships and Stuff here on the Gunpla Network. As always, I'm your guide, The Spicer, and today's episode is brought to you by none other than Side 7 Exports, your one-stop shop for any of your P-Bandai and Gundam Base exclusive needs. When you're placing your order with them, think of us and use that promo code GunplaNetwork10 for 10% off your entire order. Today we'll be looking at the LHM BB-01 Minerva from Gundam Seed Destiny, ZAFT's first transatmospheric battleship. The Minerva is also ZAFT's first new battleship since the end of the First Bloody Valentine War's end 2 years earlier. This would be just one piece of ZAFT's military buildup anticipating the Second Bloody Valentine War, and if you're new to Gundam or Gundam Seed Destiny, sit back, relax, and enjoy. The LHM BB-01 Minerva is the titular ship of Gundam Seed Destiny, Gundam Seed's sequel taking place in the Cosmic Era universe. With the Minerva following in the LCAM-01XA Archangel's footsteps, it's only right that we compare them. While they do come from different sides with vastly different ship design doctrine, they do match up fairly well. The Minerva's length comes in at 350 meters, and that is just a little bit shorter than the Archangel's 420 meters. However, both do have an equal number of thrusters for their propulsion units, making them kind of even out with the Archangel being just a tid slower comparatively speaking. They both have incredibly distinct designs, especially for this universe and what had preceded them. And they're largely inspired by Gundam's most iconic ship designs in the White Base and the Argama. Now, in terms of armaments, both are fairly similar, but of course the Archangel's extra size is going to allow it to carry a few extra things. Both will have positron cannons with the Minerva's Tannhäuser and the Archangel's two low-angling cannons. Both will have two dual-barrel beam cannons, with the Minerva's being the Tristans and the Archangel's being the Godfrieds. Both will have physical projectile weapons, with the Minerva's Isolde 3-barrel cannon and the Archangel's two Valiant railguns on either side of the ship. And of course, both are stacked with their signature missiles and their CIWS systems. The Minerva's weapon suite is formidable to say the least, but let's get a closer look at it. First, let's take a look at the most visually interesting of the bunch, the Isolde M10 42cm cannon. Inspiring thoughts of World War II era battleships, these cannons take the place of a railgun for some reason. Not really sure why, but they exist. And unlike its World War II counterpart, the Isolde is stored internally when it's not in use. My conclusion to this is probably this was just done for the rule of cool because it looks cool. Next we have the Tannhäuser QXZ-1 positron cannon, the first to be employed by a ZAFT warship in animation. Much like the Isolde, the Tannhäuser is stored internally when it's not in use. Next we have the two Tristan XM47 dual-barrel beam cannons, located much further back on the ship by the bridge on either side of it. The Tristans are the only main weapons that aren't stored internally, however they do have armor that folds over the barrels when not in use. Next we have the 10 4-tube missile launchers stocking the Night Art space missiles, the Parseval atmospheric missiles, and the Dispar interception missiles. These sections of tubes are located all over the ship. Lastly, we have the 12 40mm CIWS located all over the ship for anti-missile and anti-mobile suit screens. In terms of mobile suit capacity, the Minerva can hold 10 regular mobile suits and the Impulse Gundam with its specialty launch system. Using its two linear catapults on either side of the ship, it can launch any traditional mobile suits, whether they be Grunt or Gundam types, while the centerline catapult is purely reserved for the YFX M65S Core Splendor, Force Splendor, Blast Splendor, and Sword Splendor of the ZGMFX56S Impulse Gundam. While it never carries or fields its full complement of 11 mobile suits, the Minerva's firepower and its carrying capacity are a perfect blend of the existing Nazca and Laurasia class battleships that populated ZAFT's space fleets. As for the mobile suits we see on the Minerva in animation, we of course have our main man, the Impulse weapon system, with the YFX M65S Core Splendor of the ZGMF X56S Impulse Gundam, and of course its variants with the Force Blast and Sword versions. Of course, our other mainstays being the ZGMF 1000A/1 Gunner Zaku Warrior in Lunamaria Hawk signature red color. We also have the ZGMF 1000M Blaze Zaku Phantom in Reza Burrell's white custom colors. We also have a spare ZGMF 1000 Zaku Warrior that Athrun uses towards the beginning of the series. And of course we have a couple of other grunts, being the ZGMF 601 Arguez Rs for cannon fodder. They carry a total of 3, but we only see 2 in action. And of course when Athrun returns, we have the ZGMF X23S Savior Gundam, and of course that is probably the most underrated Gundam in the series. It is beautiful and gets wrecked very quickly, unfortunately. After that, we do see the ZGMF 2000 Goof Igniten in Hyundai Westenflus's orange color. And lastly, we see the additions of the ZGMF X666S Legend and the ZGMF X42S Destiny Gundam. There are 2 different pieces of special equipment on the Minerva that really do stand out compared to everything else in Gundam Seed's universe. First being the Impulse Gundam Splendor system that makes up the centerline catapult of the ship. While it does mostly feature a mobile suit in terms of the weapon system, it is largely integrated and exclusive to the Minerva. It's never implemented on any other suits, no mass production or prototype units that we see after the Impulse uses it. And while it is odd that it is a mainstay of your new flagship, it is important to note Gundam's history with toy gimmicks for toy gimmicks' sake. So that's most likely the case. The next, infinitely more useful system that unfortunately rarely gets used is the deuterion Beam Energy Transfer System. While it does work with all the second generation ZAFT Gundams such as the Impulse, Gaia, Chaos, Abyss, and Savior, we only ever see it recharge the Impulse mid-flight, or mid-fight rather. Yes, I know 3 of those were stolen, but we never see the Savior get to use it, which I guess makes sense because Destiny hates the Savior Gundam for some reason. Now for the Minerva's service record and its exploits. Being launched earlier than anticipated on October 2nd CE73, due to the attack on Armory 1 by the 81st Independent Mobile Group Phantom Pain of the Earth Alliance, Captain Talia Gladys launches the ship to pursue the group, engaging in a few skirmishes and falling into a couple of traps along the way. From there, we happen upon the Break the World incident where chunks of Junius 7 fall to Earth. A radical faction of coordinators plan to drop the whole of Junius 7 as revenge for Bloody Valentine. However, the Minerva's crew stops them and kind of saves the world, but it still gets pretty messed up. These radicals that were trying to drop Junius 7 adhered to Patrick Zala's ideology of complete coordinator supremacy and domination. This mention of Athrun's father pushes him back into ZAFT's loving arms after Kigali has to get married to a younger, purple-haired, smug anime Kevin Spacey. Of course, after the Minerva makes it to Orb's territory, it does get repaired, and Athrun kinda goes back to Orb, but kinda doesn't and goes back to the plants. We don't see him for a little bit. However, while the Minerva is being repaired, we get to see our favorite Captain Bay Maru Ramius step in as the head mechanic project person. I don't know what her exact title is, but she's there. That's great. Once the Minerva leaves Orb, it gets a nice Earth Alliance hello, how are you, now it's time to war, along with Orb's warm goodbye of here's some way high explosive shells right behind you. You see, the Earth Alliance had declared war as the Minerva was leaving Orb, and Orb didn't want to get dragged into the fight as they were about to sign an alliance with the Earth Alliance. So they were caught between a rock and a hard place and had to make some tough choices. However, they did survive to fight another day and ended up making to the Carpentaria base, which is located along Australia's northern coast. This is where we see Athrun rejoin the team and Captain Gladys becoming a member of the Elite Special Forces Faith members. We don't really know any else outside of what Faith entails, but they get their own complete discretion in combat with no formal chain of command. Oh yeah, Atheron's also a member of Faith for some reason. We start our journey towards the Gibraltar base through the Black Sea, meeting more people from Orb and wrecking them incredibly hard. Mostly due to smug anime Kevin Spacey's lack of tactical acumen though. We also see the Archangel and Freedom show up. Sadly, the Minerva is ordered to destroy both of them. The once invincible Freedom is shot down and the Archangel is thought to have been sunk after it helped to destroy the aptly named Destroy Gundam. Getting to Gibraltar, we see Atheron peace out with Mayrin in their great escape, and unfortunately, it gets cut short by Shin. Next, the Minerva takes its leave and heads off to the massive assault on Heaven's Base, Logo's stronghold in Iceland. Logo's mostly destroyed and the battle is almost a complete victory, except for Lord Jabril escapes to Orb. Back across the worlds to the South Pacific of Orb, and we see the Battle of Orb number 2. Jabril makes it to space and Orb gets dunked on again, but slightly less hard this time. Now to space for the big battles. Taking over the giant moon laser for future problems, the Minerva plays a pivotal role in stopping the complete destruction of the plants. It is a valiant effort on not only the ship, but the mobile suit pilots themselves. The big final battle begins, and it wouldn't be a Seed series without the 3-ship alliance getting hella put over and eventually sinking the Minerva, mostly due to Atheron taking out its engines. It never explodes and most of the crew is believed to make it off safely, with the exception of Captain Gladys going to meet her demise along with Chairman Durandal. And that has been it for this iteration of Ships and Stuff. Let us know in the comments down below what you like about the Minerva, or if you just don't like the Minerva and what ship you prefer over it. Of course, put in the comments as well what you would like to see next. We will continue to do this, and if you're wondering about the expose on the evolution of Gundam's alternative timelines, it is still in the works. Part 2 will be coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. Of course, like, subscribe, and, of course, keep on building.